credit you as being probably one of the greatest guitarists of all times.
I keep trying to be. I keep trying to be. I don't know that I am. I just know that I do the best that I can.
I know you gonna dig this. Get funky with me.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I am. It's Labor Day here in the United States, 2025. I am back at Alpine Valley Resort. I've been here before. I was here, I think, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not sure. So when I was here, I was looking for something and I couldn't find it. Now I'm trying again. This is a location where legendary, incredible blues guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan lost his life in a helicopter crash with 4 other people. And I'm gonna put a link below to, I've done 2 other videos about Stevie Ray Vaughan. I've done one from here and one from his gravesite in Dallas. But when I was here, I can't remember why, I got a little bit up the hill and I was like, I don't know where the memorial is. I'm not sure where it is. And it was very frustrating. And I gave up, which is not something I usually do if you watch my channel. I search for things and keep looking. And so pretty much I haven't given up because it's been, like I said, 2 or 3 years since I've been here, but it's always been on my mind. If I'm back in Wisconsin, if I'm back in this area, we're just outside Chicago, near Lake Geneva. If I'm ever back here in this area, I'm gonna make another attempt because I want to find the memorial to Stevie Ray that's up here. It's an older ski resort, Alpine, and the amphitheater. Like I said, I'm gonna put a link below. I showed the amphitheater where he played his final show, August 26, 1990. And I was just talking to the lady side. It's very, very quiet and slow right now. Like I said, it's Labor Day. Not a lot of rooms booked, but in the winter, this place is still very, very busy. Basic story is fine. He played his show. Eric Clapton had played, I believe, the night before. Stevie Ray Vaughan played on the Sunday night, and then 4 helicopters were taking off. They sat around in the back, hanging out, a bunch of musicians, and talking. And then one of the tour managers came in and said it's time to go because the weather's getting bad. 4 helicopters took off back to Chicago. Only 3 made it. And the one with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Clapton's manager from CAA, our agent, his tour manager, bodyguard, and the pilot. That one, it was heavy fog, pilot error, crashed into the side of the mountain here, the side of the hill. And it wasn't until the next morning that the helicopter was discovered, the wreckage. All passengers died on impact. And yeah, I went into great detail in that last video. I think I did, I hope I did. So, but there is a memorial to Stevie Ray Vaughan here on the hill. And afterwards I want to talk about music a little bit. We'll do that at the end of the video. And about Stevie Ray Vaughan a little bit, because I've listened to his music when I was on my way here and thinking a lot about him. But let's try and find this memorial. Now, I think it was, as I'm looking, I'm thinking it was that hill that I was at and thinking I had to walk up. And so I remember somebody wrote in my comments 2 or 3 years ago, said, bro, if you had just walked up a little further, you would have gotten there, or you should have walked up a lot further. Because I don't think I walked up that far, because I just wasn't sure if there was even a memorial at the time. Because, yeah, that's right, because, oh, it's coming back to me now. The person that was working at the ticket office wasn't sure if there was a memorial, wasn't sure if there was one. So I was like, it was very hot. I was like, I don't think there is one. I don't, if they didn't know about it, why would there be one? But I just spoke to a lady here, and she said it's right up Mohawk, the Mohawk Trail. How appropriate. Which I think is that one. But I've also heard it's to the right of Mohawk Trail. But the lady who works at the hotel was very sweet just now. So I think that's why I didn't walk up last time, because I wasn't sure if there was even a memorial. Let's find out. Enough talking. Let's go. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk. I believe they said it was written which hill is which, but I believe this is Mohawk. So I'm going to walk up this way. And people who are big Stevie Ray Vaughan fans who watch this right now probably say, no, dude, do this, do that. But I'm just going by the different information I have. And I'm not leaving this hill and this resort until I see that memorial to the great Stevie Ray Vaughan. Let's go. So actually, I went back and I asked the lovely woman working here. I said, I'm about to make the same mistake. I said, I have a feeling this is in Mohawk. And thank goodness I went back, because she said, no, it's not. It's down here more. So I almost made the same mistake I made last time. Let's keep going. Gotta walk all the way down here and around. See? Okay, I have found it. Mohawk Lift, and it's to the left. So that's a little alpine trail. So if you're coming here and you want to see this, we're gonna do this together. That's the alpine trail. It's more for snowboarders. But this is Mohawk right here, because here's the ski lift, so it's to the left of it. Let's begin the walk. So, I'm gonna get out of breath soon, but walking up this somewhat steep hill. It's supposed to be up here. Let's keep going. Mohawk Trail. So, out of breath, made it to the very top. Did not find it. I've cut over one. Mohawk's there. Wait a minute. Yeah, so now I'm gonna cut over again. I'm gonna tell you exactly how to find it, if I find it. I see it. It's straight ahead. I'm gonna get right up to it, but straight ahead in between that ladder, or sort of the light or fan, or in between the lights and that. So here we are. So I'm gonna explain when I get down. I'll figure out what the name of this trail. But look down there. See that middle building? It says First Aid. So if you come here, look for that First Aid building and walk straight up the hill in front of it. This is it. So it's to the right. If you're facing the hill, to the right of that blue shack that I showed. But there's the First Aid building. Walk straight up, and it's right here. I've actually read that it's really high up, but it's not. In memory of Stevie Ray Vaughan, October 3rd, 1954, August 27th, 1990, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then here, got some pictures of him. Some Crown Royal left. Although he had been sober for, I think, about 3.5 years. And he was very proud of his sobriety and seeing things in a clearer light. He was working on an album with his brother. And that actually ended up getting released about 27 days after Stevie Ray Vaughan's funeral, which was huge. And I've got an interesting story about that. So they left for Midway International Airport in Chicago, reading this part, in a Bell 206B helicopter. Helicopter crashed into a nearby ski hill shortly after takeoff. Vaughan and the 4 others on board, the pilot, Jeff Brown, agent Bobby Brooks, who was a big player in the music industry. Bobby Brooks represented a lot of people. Offhand, Dolly Parton, I think Creedence Clearwater, but a lot of people. Just from what I remember. Bodyguard Nigel Brown and tour manager Colin Smythe all died instantly. And what's interesting about the final moment, so it says 12:50 a.m. Vaughan and member that. So it says on Monday, August 27th at 12:50 a.m. Vaughan and members of Eric Clapton's touring entourage played an all-star encore jam session. It was well over by about, I guess, maybe 11 or so, because they talked for a while in the back, and they had plans to do a Jimi Hendrix. They came up with the idea of doing a Jimi Hendrix tribute at the Royal Albert in London. Stevie was really into that, and From what I know, about 3 years after Stevie Ray died, Eric Clapton called Jimmy, Stevie Ray's brother, who wasn't really playing music anymore because he was too depressed and sad. He said, let's do that tribute. And it was a tribute to Stevie Ray that they did. So one other thing that was weird was, I think it was, again, I'm just remembering everything, but I believe it was that night when they were sitting backstage, he told them about a dream he had where he was watching his own funeral. And he felt that his spirit was there watching, but he couldn't say anything to the funeral goers, but he was watching his own funeral and he felt at peace. And it was thousands of people or so at this funeral that Stevie Ray Vaughan dreamt about. And he said, I believe he had a peaceful feeling. It was scary and then a peaceful feeling. Again, paraphrasing, but he had this dream. He told him about it. And then I think it was 3 days after the crash is when his funeral was held, and it was held in Dallas and buried beside his father. And over 1,000 people, Jimmie Vaughan played a new song that they had been recording together because the brothers are finally doing an album together, and over the PA system. And it was a long ceremony, long funeral, and scorching heat, Texas, late August. And people all stood there and applauded and cheered after they played that song. And the priest minister mentioned that afterwards, that it was appropriate that people cheered and applauded because that's how people, reacted to Stevie Ray after he played for them live. But yeah, so that was a weird thing that he kind of foresaw his own death just the night before. And also, his grave and his father's was moved. They have their own plot in the cemetery of Vaughan Estates. And it's, right now, I believe it's Stevie Ray, his father, his mother who passed away after. His mother was at Stevie Ray. His father died a few years before on the same date, August 27th. And his mother died a few years after. So she's there in a new plot and has room for, I believe, Jimmie Vaughan, his wife, possibly, maybe more. But they were moved. But it's a beautiful cemetery and it's a beautiful plot. I've been there. Let's walk back down the hill, but here it is. Oh, and I want to say about the Crown Royal, that's, it's fine. But he did lead a sober lifestyle at the end, and he said that it was the best he's ever felt in his life, very clean living. And he often spoke about death. And he said that he believed that your spirit still remained and looked after your loved ones. It was around your loved ones at all time. So I know that Jimmy, Eric Clapton, the members of the band that were at the hotel in Chicago the morning of 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. when they were getting the news, they were comforted by that fact that Stevie, although he passed away, there was something comforting knowing that he had that idea, that he had that thought, that he wasn't really gone. Just wanted to add that in. Wow, sitting on a ski lift. So very bright, very sunny. I'm out at the bottom of the hill. I've been eaten alive by bugs. It is very, very, very hot, obviously, but the bugs up there were insane. So what I want to say, I'm gonna actually go up here because the sun is too bright in my eyes. What I want to say about music, Stevie Ray Vaughan, when he passed away, I'm sure I heard about it, I knew who he was. Didn't know any of his music. And then later in the 90s, I started working in a CD store. Remember those? And we could play whatever we want, but we also had to play certain music. And we had to play certain genres. And I worked with people who knew different music than I did. I was into hip hop and alternative. I had friends that were into jazz that worked there. Friends that were into R&B. I can even tell you their names. I remember them all. Jory Nash. You guys know Jory does music for my channel sometimes. Loopy, John, Carrie, all these people that work with me. Some of my good friends still. But one of my friends there, I think Chad, he loved blues. We put on Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I was like, well, who is this? And he explained to me. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I remember Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I was like, I guess I like the blues. I didn't think I ever did before. And really, that working that job opened up really because I love music. Music is I love music. And opened up for me to be listening to every genre. And I want to bring that up because that's how I discovered Stevie Ray Vaughan myself. But I was having a discussion with somebody not too long ago about kids or teenagers today don't have the same amount of knowledge or interest, vast interest. Maybe you do if you're a kid or teenager watching this, but a lot don't. People say it's so sad, it's so wrong. And I'm like, yeah, but you're missing why. Because when we grew up, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, 70s, 60s, there's only radio stations. You heard certain artists, and then you go to a CD store, and you buy a CD, and you listen to that CD over and over again. And then a friend would tell you about a band, this or that, and you would get exposed to all sorts of different music through the radio, TV, MTV. They played all sorts of much music in Canada, all different genres. Kids today, you put together a playlist on Spotify or Apple Music, and you get bombarded with other artists that sound like that, and they don't really branch out. I'm talking about the streaming systems don't branch out for the person listening. So I don't think kids get the opportunity today. So it's not really their fault. Maybe when they get a little older, going to college, oh no, you got to listen to this. You got to get into Zeppelin. You got to get into REM. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was just thinking about that, about how I got exposed to music early, because my parents were listening to Conway Twitty, they were listening to Elvis Presley, they were listening to Motown, all that stuff. And I think a lot of us have that same experience listening to different types of music growing up. And I'm sure parents today, with young kids, teenagers, especially when you're younger, you listen to what your parents listen to, but when you become a teenager, you start kind of going into your own thing. I'm babbling, I get it, but I just want to say that, hopefully a lot of parents saying, hey, no, listen to this, and that's how younger people get into different music nowadays, and hopefully they're listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan. Amazing music, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man, beautiful music, and rest in peace, Stevie Ray Vaughan and the other 4 victims from this horrific plane crash, August 27th, 1990. Right up this hill. And so remember, if you're here by the Super Glide lift, right there, walk up, okay? So remember, if you're here by the Super Glide lift, just walk up. It's on your right. Thanks for watching, but I know I babbled on a lot, but I found it. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted you to come along with me. And thank you to everyone who watched my last video about the unsubscribing and resubscribing. I hope that works for a lot of you and you get to see my videos again. Thank you everyone who did that. Without my viewers, without you watching, I wouldn't have a channel. It's because of you that I'm able to do what I do. So thank you. Rhyme scheme, Eminem, what can I say? Call me, man, I'll do a feature. Rest in peace, Stevie Ray. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace. I love you all. Out. And you know what? I had 5 rocks in my pocket and a red one for Stevie Ray. 5 in total that I had in my pocket all the way up there. And because it's not a grave, I've been thinking while I was walking up, I was like, well, where can I leave them? And I was afraid of people skiing over them when the snow comes, but of course there's rocks and sticks everywhere, but they figured it's paved snow, I know how it works, but I was going to still leave them around the bottom of the pool, but I literally forgot. That's the second time I've done that in the past 3 months. You'll see another video coming up soon that I filmed a while ago where I forgot to leave a rock. But again, it wasn't a grave, so just kind of forgot because of that. But sure, these won't be here long, but there we go.